Did Mattel pull a switcheroo on the Motu Origins Necro-Conda figure? Let's chat about that right now on the special edition of Toy Habits Live. And before we go live, smash that like button, turn on notifications, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss a beat. Hey everyone, welcome back to Toy Habits. I'm Michael.
And I'm the Toy Sorceress, and you're watching Toy Habits Live. How's it going, Michael?
It's going great. The NecroConda Preorder out of nowhere. So today was a good day.
Oh my gosh, that thing popped up first thing this morning, and I scrambled to alert people about it. But yeah, some interesting things. After I placed the pre-order, started getting that article put together, and then I started looking at the pictures a little closer, and I was like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
So there's something a little different about these final production images of NecroConda than what we originally saw. We're going to talk about that today.
Yeah, and it's not like they haven't done this before, but it's a pretty big difference when you think a figure is one way and it turns out to be another way.
Exactly. So before we get into our investigative search and AKA bitching session, if this is true, we want to check in and see who's here in the chat and say hello, and then we'll get into it.
Awesome.
All right, we got crew member Collector Phil here, Jacob Stoner's with us, Wild Turkey 101, Meg is joining us, Two Hand Axe is here, crew member Smetty 45, crew member Frankie Rivera is here, crew member Joe Coleman is here, and Joe said before, it's Toy Habits time, except that's not what I showed. We got once was Mikey also joining us. Pedro Ribeiro is here all the way from Portugal. Hello, Portugal, who's watching. There it is. It's Toy Habits time, guys. Ryan Cole, our great crew member, is also here. Crew member Neil Hunter Hyde is also joining us. Crew member Extendar is here. Nunya Biz is also joining us. And I think I got everybody. Oh, no. We got a few more. Too Bad Dad, also awesome crew members joining us. Crew member Black Phoenix 77 is also here. Friend of the channel, Toy Hunters Hollow is here. Crew member Giraffe is joining us as well. Giraffe cracks me up. Giraffe, are you ready to vent? I know Giraffe was venting on the Discord today. Christopher Brentar is also joining us. Laser Eye 21A is here, and and we got to check in with, oh my gosh, again, incredible, so sweet crew members that we have. Ryan Cole gifted 5 more Toy Habits memberships. Ryan, you are so sweet. Thank you so much for doing that. Ryan's been so generous almost on every stream the last couple of weeks. And also Joe Coleman as well, gifting 5 Toy Habits memberships. Joe and Ryan, you are both incredible crew members. Again, Joe being ultra generous on the last few streams. Thank you guys so much. That's very
thank you guys so much.
Yeah, 10 of you out there in the chat are going to get Toy Habits memberships for a month. And we got crew member Timbo from Limbo. I love that name. Crew member JT Brunick is also here, and All Music Fan, and so much more. But we're going to dive in to the and friend of the channel, Jason Tran is here. And Jason, I've got I have a prop that you actually sent me, so I'm going to give you a shout out. We'll use that. How's it going, Jason?
Yes, drive safely, please.
Yes, I'm going to plus in also Brennan Barnes. Brennan is an amazing crew member. One of our OG crew is here as well. So, Michael, let's get into it.
Yeah, so I guess for one thing, NecroConda went up for pre-order. We thought this was going to be a Walmart exclusive, and obviously Mattel had changed their mind. So that is a great thing. So everybody has a chance to get this, which is fantastic. So let's start off with some good news.
Yeah, I think this is great news. We always thought that this was going to be a Walmart exclusive, And then like people were floating around the idea, oh, is it maybe going to go to Mattel Creations because we got the box art and it was so pretty and all that kind of stuff. But it turns out this is now a fan channel. Well, for now, as much as we know, a fan channel exclusive because it came out today on EE and BBTS. But you can elaborate on that, Michael.
Yeah, so Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store had put this up, and then at some point in the day, Entertainment Earth took it down for some reason. And yes, I once was Mikey. The EE link is dead ski. If you click on it, it goes to, oh, this is the kind of I actually like these figures.
Their paint jobs look kind of weird though.
They do. But it's kind of this one. But yeah, the link on Entertainment Earth is dead. So I'm not really sure what happened or why they did that, but who knows? This happens sometimes in Big Bad Toy Store too. Then they come back up. So if anyone pre-ordered it on Entertainment Earth, do you still have it in your ordered items? They usually keep those, but we'd love to know.
Yeah. Maybe there was some kind of error with the listing. I don't know. They never had photos up on it, as far as I know, when I looked at it this morning. And I think they posted it before BBTS did. I think they posted it in the middle of the night sometime, is what I was reading on the socials. And BBTS launched it first thing this morning at probably like 6 a.m. Pacific or something like that. So,
all right.
Okay, good.
Mr. Ryan Cole is reporting that EE still shows as pre-order, so that's good. So maybe they are trying to fix whatever is going on in their system, and we'll probably have it back up at some point in the near future.
Wonderful. So hopefully they fix that. I want to give a big shout out to the Baroness of Toys. Baroness, I didn't miss you. You just logged in a little late, but good to see you in the chat.
Yeah.
Happy you are here. Baroness actually scored me one of these early this morning before I was able to get to it, but I did also pre-order one myself, so thanks for that, Baroness.
That's good.
So Michael, one thing, so I was driving to work this morning, and I don't know why, taking a look at these pictures, something really like alarming stood out to me, especially in this photo right here. So the one thing I really loved about this NecroConda figure when we first saw the one image, the one prototype image when he's in his little Obi-Wan Kenobi, cloak, is that he was made of like a dark green translucent plastic. Because if you remember, the way he was illustrated on the Castle Grayskull box, or sorry, the Snake Mountain box, I apologize, was a, like a spirit snake man. He was supposed to be like undead or whatever, right? And there you go. That is the prototype image. And we're going to look at these a lot closer. And so taking a look at all of these really cool production photos that we got today, especially the one where he's bare-chested, that looks like it's opaque. So it looks like a matte black with some kind of green overspray, some kind of like maybe sparkly color on it. What do you think? Do you think it's lighting? Do you think that they are no longer making this out of a translucent plastic? And we're going to look at it closer, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, it definitely looks different to me. The difference is it's slight, but it looks real to me that there's a difference in just the production photo versus what we got. Just because a lot of you can see the green showing through a lot more clearly, which tells me that this is some sort of like see-through plastic, like, kind of like the Turtles of Grayskull Mossman.
And here's where I'm putting my prop. So I wanted to say a big thank you to Jason Tran, because Jason actually sent me mutated Mossy. But you can see here, he is translucent green plastic, and light does come through. I should have, maybe I'll grab my light ring here if I can get it on the screen. But you can see how light shines through the figure. It is absolutely translucent plastic. And so the NecroConda we were supposed to get was supposed to be a dark green translucent plastic, right? And the images we got today does not look like that.
Yeah, and it's not the first time that Mattel has done this, and I actually don't know why they even bother to put out these prototype figures, because sometimes the difference is quite big, like in Spikor and Leatherhead too. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and we're going to take a closer look at those right now, because you're absolutely right that we have had some kind of running changes, if you want to call it that. And Mattel is no stranger to it. So here is the original Spikor. You want to run through these, and then I'll go through the NecroConda stuff.
Yeah, so the original Spikor picture that first came out is the one that is behind the one holding the ball. And so this is the first time that we get to look at these figures when they come out on the white background. And it's funny because sometimes we get attached to how the figures look when we first see them. And so when we see differences, and if the differences are pretty stark, it looks like there's a paint color change, and also the face is so much slimmer on Spikor.
Oh yeah.
That it makes a difference when the figure is finally produced, if you like it or not. I remember seeing a lot of comments on this with people liking like that first kind of fuller face because it looks more filmation than that slimmer face.
Yeah, and his eyes and his mouth look different too, because here he has kind of like a more grimacing expression on his face, and also his eyebrows are kind of more like angry looking, if you want to call it that, and the way his whole eyes are looking, and he has very like hollow cheeks. It looks like he went on a crash diet or something like that.
Yeah, totally does. Yeah, he's on Ozempic or something.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, so they've done this before, but and this isn't as drastic of a change as what we're going to see on NecroConda, I think. But the next one that has a really big change was Leatherhead, right?
Yes, that was huge. Yeah, and you were pointing this out too, because like I threw the images up there and didn't really bother to like look at the differences, but it's pretty stark.
So with Leatherhead, there was actually a ton of differences. We'll start with just some of his accessories. They went from a translucent blue plastic on his bear trap to like this green colored one. No big deal. Okay. His hat, which you can't see in this image, his little Aussie hat here. On the new one, they added kind of some indents for his eyes, so it'll fit his face a little bit better when you put it on, which is great. That's an improvement. And in this case, the changes that they made for Leatherhead were all in the positive direction, because his face has much more detail. If you can see here, he's got kind of more like crocodile-like eyes. You can see the sculpt in his kind of like eyebrow, or eye socket area is much taller. And the other big thing that you'll notice, and in this photo, it's not so apparent, but he has little indents on his lower mandible here, so that when his jaw is closed, his teeth like align on the outside, like what a crocodile looks like or alligator when he has his mouth closed. So I think those are really great updates. And the other really big change on Leatherhead was his tail. So on the prototype image, his tail was like hollow looking. It had kind of like this hollowed out webbing or whatever for the plastic on the back side. And on his new tail, and we have a couple various images, but we're not talking about Leatherhead today, so we're not showing it. It's a full tail. It's not hollow anymore. It's a full plastic tail, which is great. And I think they also kind of adjusted the proportions on his hands a little bit. These looked a little bit kind of large and out of place, and they seem to be slightly corrected. So I think all of this were improvements on the Leatherhead figure. And that's just kind of dialing in, which makes sense when you're going from a prototype to a production figure, and that's all in a good way. Fine, I'm okay with that, Mattel. Good job. Now, Mattel, we got something we need to hash out with you and talk about. Oh, not yet. Let's talk about Skelly. I forgot this one was in here too.
I just threw this one in there because this one was the most egregious from like a paint app standpoint and color, because there's such a difference between just the stock Skeletor, that this first release that they threw in, versus the photo from the official images or the production images. So anyways, I just threw that.
Totally right. Yeah. You're totally right. And I forgot that this one was such a like teal color, and it's got this like massive paint wash all over it that you can see, and also a paint wash on his purple armor. And his face has a little bit of like kind of that green, spray that kind of comes in a little bit more. And this just looks like almost, like V1 Skeletor.
Yeah, totally does. Totally does. But yes, we are not here to talk about those. We are here to talk about.
Yeah. Okay, so now Mattel, can you explain something to me? Why in the heck does NecroConda go from, and it's harder to tell in this image here, but this translucent version with the prototype to this one here, which, yes, you can see some of the green on here. And this is just one image I picked just because they were both in the same little outfit. From this first image, you're going to say, okay, he looks fine. What's wrong with this? Prototype, production, great. I'm like, okay, from the naked eye, he looks fine. Here, this one, not bad, and maybe it's the lighting, but his body looks a little dark. I think it's okay. I think it maybe it's close. But what really, really rang my alarm bells, first of all, this one is, seeing kind of his glow in the dark, and the rest of his body looks really dark. Some of that green paint is reflecting off of it. Again, on this image, it does not look really translucent. But when you get to here, when you get to this one, Michael, this is when my alarm bells went off, and I said, he looks like he's like almost made of like black plastic with a green overspray. There's no translucency like at all in his chest. Now, is it the lighting? Is it the actual figure? Because even like the rest of him, he just looks like he's got like a green metallic-y paint sprayed all over him. So what do you think? And we want to know what the chat thinks.
Yeah, because I'm seeing the chat split on this. Some people are like it looks the same, and some people are like it looks different. But
and we're gonna zoom in on these two.
What I pay attention to is the lighting effects that are reflecting off of the figure. And so both figures are actually lit up really well, because you can see the light reflection, you can see the light devices that they're using to light these figures up. They are reflecting off of them, and something does look off between the prototype and the production. So yeah, I was hoping this would be kind of like that Mossman Turtles of Grayskull figure, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah. So when we get to kind of a little bit more closer up image, the thing that I wanted to point out, when you get to a translucent figure like Mossman, especially in his torso, this is where like the pieces of his chest pop together. And so there's a structural member like of plastic that holds the two sides together. So when you look inside him, and there's also some structural members that hold his arm sockets inside.
Right.
So with translucent plastic figures, you could see some of that, right? You can kind of see some of that architecture inside that holds Mossman together. You see that? Here's those little round sockets right there, and then the plastic that kind of holds his arms inside. You could definitely notice all of that in there. And in the back, it's like more apparent. You see these lines by his shoulder blades right there and right there. That's what holds Mossman together. So, and then also in his lower back, you can see some of that. And if we go back to the slide, this is totally opaque. I don't see any light shining through. I don't see any of the structure of the figure. It just looks not translucent to me. And the same thing with his arms. You don't see a shadow of the structure that's holding the figure together if it was translucent plastic, like you kind of can in here, right? There was like light shining through, especially like at his fingers and stuff. I don't know. Something absolutely looks different to me in here, and we won't know until we have him in our hand.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, Mattel has made a standard figure semi-translucent with their Masterverse standard release of Scareglow. So I know that they have the mix of colors that can make this plastic see-through because if you actually hold up Scareglow's hand to the light, you can see directly through it, which is a cool effect.
Yep.
But I mean, the figure still looks amazing, but it's really different than what I thought it would be.
So to me too. And talking about semi-translucent plastic, look at the mutated He-Man, and I can grab him because he's in front of me. But that one is a little bit less translucent than mutated Mossman. But there's still a translucency to the plastic where the light shines through. And in here, to me, it looks like it's totally opaque. We're going to keep looking at some more close-up images. Here we get even closer, and it's hard to see. But in this one, like even at this areas of his chest, it looks to me like light is coming through, and that it's not like a spray painted application. This absolutely looked like it was translucent plastic. Where here, there's no light coming through this. This is a solid torso.
Yeah. And, Todd Loves Toys, good point. Are we 100% sure that the prototype is not translucent? No, it's not. But the way that they take the images gives it the appearance that it could be translucent. So I think that's what we're mainly talking about here is kind of the stark difference between the first images that we get to see, which most of them are on that white background, and then they follow up with all of these images that are on the black background when we get to see more of them like a couple months later. And so I think it's all around like expectations of what you think the figure is going to look like from prototype to production. I'd much rather have them just show produced photos and stop sending out these photos on the white backgrounds.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's like we wouldn't be making such a stink about it if the whole premise of this character was a being from like another like realm or whatever. It's supposed to be kind of like an undead snake man, so he should be a spirit. So spirits are translucent and see-through, and that was what was so cool about this snake man, because he's 100% reuse of parts we already have. So it was a repaint, a really cool repaint, a very creative repaint. So it wasn't that they had to do much with the figure, so they could afford to give us something in translucent plastic, and he's at a deluxe price point, which I know we're getting the snake tail, but still.
Yeah, and I think too, like there's a heck of a lot of plastic in that snake tail, so I would not expect that thing to be like all the way see-through. But again, like the pictures look so different.
Like here, I mean,
they look more vibrant.
Absolutely. And it's not, this is not a paint app. Like the edges are darker. And then the inside has so much more light in it that that is a telltale sign, and also kind of the end of the tail, that it is a translucent plastic, because it's like the structure of the plastic coming together and then the light shining through. So that, this totally looks like it's translucent. And to me, this just looks like a paint app. Like a green paint app. And we're not sure about this. And it could be the lighting, it could be the production shots. But there is a stark difference. And so we were concerned, and we wanted to talk about it. We wanted to hear your guys' thoughts.
Yeah, so JT said there's nothing see-through on that tail. Yes, you're probably not going to see all the way through it, but it's the way that the colors are showing up, I think, is what we're reacting to, because a see-through plastic has that kind of characteristic to it, like the image on the left. And so, yeah, you're not going to see totally through this thing because it's a thick, there's a lot of plastic in that tail, but just the way that all of the colors are bouncing off of each other and just the way they look makes us think that they've done a little design change.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then getting to the legs, again, this first image was a little bit more deceiving, because here you could see the light coming through his feet and his thighs and everything. And on this, the way that the lighter areas are, to me, it looks more like a painted application and not how light would bounce through a translucent plastic. But we could be wrong. And it's there's a very slight difference, but there's those few images there that like kind of give some red flags and say, oh my gosh, this is opaque plastic that they've changed it.
Yeah, and also too, like Mikey makes a good point of just it could be oversaturation in the original images and they look washed out. There's also no
Mhm.
consistency between how these images are taken from a like DSLR perspective too, because
Yeah,
sometimes we get pics that you were like, what the heck are they doing with these colors? And then we see the official production images and it looks a little different. So
yeah,
yeah, I think they need to be consistent.
I totally agree with you. So, you know, um, what was the release date on this one, Michael?
It was sometime in June, so it's soon.
It's
Yeah.
soon. So
Yeah.
that being said, you know, we are yet to see if if this is going to be translucent or not. But it was enough. It was enough to make our antennas stand up and do a stream today. You know, because
Yeah.
it is Necro-Conda. He's supposed to be a spirit snake, right?
Yeah, and maybe that's
You
the
know,
maybe
looking.
that's the rub too. It's like the lore
Yeah,
makes it also like in our minds, it's like, okay, if you have a
yeah,
spirit, then you think, so there's a couple things working, just to see like, oh,
mhm,
okay, they should be making this translucent. Did they attempt
yeah.
that and it just didn't come out well? And they just moved to maybe
Mhm.
a darker paint.
Yeah, it would be a total bummer. And when you look at the images here of Necro-Conda, they don't look like they're translucent. They look like they got just like a nice little green spray paint on them. And
Yeah.
this is the one kind of that threw my uh, myself off, and I was like, oh my god, like they changed them. Like the head looks opaque as well. There's no
Mhm.
light shining through that, right? I mean, if you see the figure in whole, um, I don't know.
Yeah, and I guess
This
for
is.
a repainted figure, it's a little bit more expensive than the Turtles of Grayskull Moss Man,
Mhm.
which they had to
Yeah.
design a whole new box. They had to design, that basically some new
Yeah.
parts for that figure, but were reused from, I think, the Demigorgon. But still,
Mhm.
yeah, I agree with Jamie. Like for the price, it should have been translucent.
Oh, totally. It's $28 for this figure, and it's not cheap. And here, I mean, you can totally see the light coming through his head looks much more translucent and looks really cool because he's got a black hooded cape on, and the color contrast looks amazing with that, and it's part of the character of what they made Necro-Conda be. And so, going from that to this, and now that you're looking at these like stark contrasts, that's much darker.
Yeah. Um, who in the chat is army building this figure? This is actually a very expensive figure to army build, but it comes with lots of cool parts though. So yeah, I mean, and don't get us wrong, like the figure is still it still looks awesome. Like they did a fantastic job. We're just
He's
trying to figure
cool.
out if there's a running change or not.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of noodling through that
Yeah.
with everybody here.
Mm-hmm. Because even when we first looked at it, we were staring at it for a while. We're like, we don't know if it's the lighting, but something feels off, and we wanted to talk about it, and we wanted your guys's everybody's opinion out there, guys
Yeah,
and
yeah. So
gals. So,
Frankie has grabbed 10 of them. Good Lord. He's going to have an amazing
oh my
Snake
gosh.
Man army. Like, it's funny. I always think of army building in the G.I. Joe arena, but I've never army built Motu figures for some reason.
Yeah, the most I'll get is like maybe two of something if it was like a horde trooper or something like that. But the Baroness of Toys makes a really good point and says, I think if you look at it carefully, it could be the light bouncing off the plastic from the glow in the dark armor rather than translucent plastic. Maybe that's what it was.
I don't know, because I guess the armor would have to be it would have to be glowing for it to be bouncing off the glow in
Yeah.
the dark armor. So, but it
Yeah,
doesn't
because
look
it's
like it's
not
actually
on.
glowing in the dark. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it hasn't been under a light
No,
because it
so I
looks a
don't
lot
think that
different.
that's a yeah. And
And
this prototype is not a digital render. It's an actual product because you can see. Sorry, that my computer is like bouncing a little bit. You can see the actual fabric cape on him and everything. So this was this was a prototype. This was a physical prototype product. So you absolutely can see the translucent properties of it. I don't think there's a question that he was translucent plastic.
Yeah. All right, we got
the armor does glow in the dark.
We got Extendar ordering 3. Extendar, question for you. How many Extendars are you going to be getting this month when it goes up on Mattel Creations, Inquiring Minds? Neil Hunter Hyde, I pre-ordered 1, but hope to get another 1 or 2 if they go on sale. That's a good point. I'm not really sure if these things will go on sale or if they'll sell out. It's always playing roulette. Shaky Sacks is getting 2. Steve Munyar is getting 1. I got 1. Like, I'm good with 1. Stephen Leahy got 4. How many did you get, Toy Sorceress?
I got 1. I'm just trying
Joshua
to
Robbins
over.
got 1, but getting 2. And then, yes, I'm just going backwards up the chat. Yes, if you can smack that like button, even though if you don't like the topic we're talking about. Just joking. It would be really
here's the glow in the dark version, and then here you can see like the glow in the dark stuff reflecting off the figure, like right here on his shoulders. So that makes absolute sense, and kind of like off the little fangs on his chest armor. So
figure looks pretty bad.
Yeah, he is cool.
Yeah, I mean, for a complete reuse of parts, like they did a really good job making a really unique figure.
Yeah, just how I feel about like the translucent plastic figures. I totally love them. I'm like a sucker for them.
They're really cool.
They are really cool. Like, I mean, this Boston's like awesome. So
how cool would that be to get translucent and glow in the dark in the same figure?
Yeah, I mean that's what made them like feel like really special.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally. Studio Henge Kenton is getting 6 of these. Definitely a Motu army builder. We got Chaotic. I have a small army of 3 Horde Troopers. Well, maybe you can get a bigger army of Snake Men to overtake the Troopers. Taze Takake, I ordered 2. Let's see. Yeah, it's like Joe's ordered 2. All right. But yeah, it seems like it's between like 2 and 6 with what was the biggest one? Was it Frankie's?
10.
10. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Always 2, 4. Yeah, it gets really expensive to army build. Robert is happy with 2. That's awesome. Yurko, what is up, my friend? Ordered 1. That's fantastic. And I'm assuming that he'll probably make something 3D printed out of NecroConda something. I don't know.
Like a giant one?
Good, yeah, right. Life-size NecroConda, please, Yurko.
To go into his ginormous Eternos Palace.
Yeah, good to see you on the stream. Let's see. Question: do we think Snout Spout will get another run? I don't think so. Or actually, that's a good question because he was a deluxe figure. So
you know what? Snout Spout is up on Amazon, and we have the link for it. I added it to our shop page yesterday.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Well, that's
so
great.
If you go to our Masterverse shop page, there's a link to Snout Spout on Amazon right now. It was actually reasonably priced. It wasn't bad.
Oh, that's good. Toy Habits must really have hated the Motu Classics line with the number of changes from prototype to production. Yeah, it is one of my pet peeves, but when we get the figures in hand, they usually look a lot better than the photos online. So yes, definitely was not into that. Like small changes I'm fine with, but really drastic changes to like paint apps like in the Skeletor Demigorgon pack, that really chaps my hide.
Yeah, that was quite egregious in terms of changes. But this looks so dark. Like he just looks so dark here. Yeah. And again, I don't know if it's lighting, but that it doesn't look the same.
Totally. But yeah, I'm actually super happy that it is not a Walmart exclusive given the instant sellout of Terror and Lord Graphs. So at least we don't have to deal with that.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, so I'm totally relieved and grateful that this came out on the fan channels. So thank the toy gods for that. It's wonderful news, and I'm so glad I was able to nab one this morning. He's still up for pre-order, so everyone who wants a Necro-Conda can get one. That is awesome, and I'll be happy with the figure any way he comes. But
yeah,
you know, it's just it's what we do. We talk toys, so we had to talk about this.
Yes. Let's see. JT, I'm in my Instagram, but it's I guess it sometimes these get filtered to the let's see, shout out. Okay, so let's see. Let me see what he was trying to tell us or show us here. What was his point? Lighting would be impossible if it was translucent. Okay. Yeah. So it's, let me see if we can get this on. Okay. Yeah, it could be. I mean, I'm not sure. Also, the cape is black too, which blocks out light as well. So there's a lot of things going on here. But thank you so much for DMing us that picture. And now you are part of our DM, so you can reach out to us anytime with anything, which is cool.
There you go.
Sorry, awesome. Let me put that. Oops.
Big hello to Brick Something that's out in the chat. Hi, fam. This is a fun Wednesday surprise. Yeah. And that was the other reason. We were like, hey, let's jump on a Wednesday and surprise the crew and get on and talk this slightly controversial subject.
Yeah, it's funny because this is also a rare occasion where the Toy Sorceress and I actually get to talk about something midweek. So it's fun.
Absolutely. Awesome. And look who's in the chat. Motu Law TV is here.
Yes. Super huge friend of the channel, has his own humongous YouTube channel as well. Super nice guy. Love the content too. Glad you're on the stream. You ordered 4. That's awesome. So cool.
That is so cool. That is so cool.
All Music Fan got 3, 2. Yeah, it seems like if you're not as cray as Frankie, it seems like the average is around like 2 to 4.
4. Exactly. Well, once this starts shipping into collectors' hands, whoever gets them first, we'll start seeing photos on social media if we can get our hands on it any sooner. We're going to report back, exactly what we get with NecroConda, and only time's going to tell when we finally get him in hand and see what he's made of.
It will. Yeah, the review videos are going to be super important for this one. So we hope to see some really cool stuff from any toy tubers who are doing toy reviews on this one. And if we get this in hand, we will also we can throw up some pictures as well. So, but it was fun to chat with everybody midweek about it.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a lot of fun. And again, don't get us wrong. We love the figure. I think he's totally awesome. But it's fun to chat about, stuff changing from a prototype to production.
Totally. Well, this was awesome. We'll see everyone actually again this Friday evening. So we have some major Turtles of Grayskull news to tell everyone about. So we're super excited about that. But until then, you can let your imaginations run wild.
Absolutely. And we'll see you all on Friday. Catch you later, folks.
Have a good night, everyone.